What's up guys, welcome back to Shifting Lanes. My name is Gregson. Today we're talking about the Chevrolet Equinox and what you need to know about this SUV before you research it, compare it to others in its class, or buy it. In this video, I'll go over what to look for on the Equinox as a whole. Things like a few common issues, any major service bulletins, any major recalls, reliability ratings, and what's new for the 2022 version compared to the 2021 model. We here at Shifting Lanes have not yet driven a newer Equinox to review, but we are looking to get a press loan on this hugely popular crossover as soon as we can. If we do have a full review on it, check for a card above and go check out that video. And hey, if you liked this video at the end or thought it was informative, maybe you'd consider hitting the little thumbs up button to show your support, or maybe even consider subscribing. Doing either one of those really helps us out to grow the channel, and it keeps us making cool car content for you guys. If you're looking to buy a Chevy Equinox, you may be surprised to learn that it's a top 10 best-selling vehicle in the US. Seriously. When I learned this, I was floored. I mean, I knew it sold well, but I didn't realize until I looked it up for this video just how many Chevy sells each year, and that it was in the top 10 or even 20 at all. In fact, for the 2020 sales year, it was number 7, moving 270,994 units according to Car and Driver, beating out top sellers like the Honda Civic, Toyota Tacoma, and Nissan Rogue. And what's even more interesting was that these numbers were down 22% from 2019 sales. Clearly, the Equinox is a hugely important vehicle for Chevrolet, as it's the second best-selling Chevy model behind the Silverado and the second best-selling GM vehicle overall. And this is even more fascinating to me due to the fact that the Equinox is in one of the most competitive segments in all of the car world, which is the compact SUV. With the Toyota RAV4 and Honda CR-V dominating the segment, the Equinox comes in third overall ahead of the Nissan Rogue, but expect that to potentially change in 2021 sales with the all-new Rogue now out. It shows that Chevy has made a good product in the Equinox that buyers want, but it also shows the loyalty that previous Chevy buyers have to the brand. Now, at this point, you might be asking why you've been looking at the 2018 model for the whole time during this video. And you know what? That's a great question. Honestly, it's just because Chevy doesn't have any B-roll footage for the 2022, only images and very little actual footage of the car. Plus, we're going to be talking about older models anyway, so this footage is still relevant. On that note, there's a bunch to go over for the upcoming 2022 model that's now out in dealers, and let's dive into all of these changes that are going to be coming out for this competitive little SUV. First, the 2021 model year carries over from 2020 due to manufacturing shutdowns during the early stages of the pandemic. For the 2021 model, you had 4 different trims to choose from, starting with L and moving up the ladder through LS, LT, and Premier. All of these come standard with front-wheel drive, but you can option the LS, LT, and Premier with all-wheel drive, which run you an extra $1,600 no matter what trim you pick. If you want a bare-bones 2021 Equinox, you'll be looking at an L trim with a net price of $24,995. If you want the top-of-the-line Premier trim with all the bells and whistles, that will set you back a minimum of $34,195, but you can option a larger 2-liter turbo engine for $36,895. Options will push you close to or over 40 grand, but you'd have to add a lot to the Premier trim to do so. And with average car prices well above $40,000 now, the Equinox seems like a relative bargain even at the top of the line trim. So what's new for 2022 versus the 2021 model? First up is a brand new trim called the RS trim. Now this sounds very sporty, and that's exactly what Chevy was going for, but in reality it's just an aesthetic package, meaning it's meant to look sporty, and that's pretty much it. With the new RS trim, you'll get a gloss black grille, black bow ties, black badging, black side rails, RS style shift knob, red contrast stitching, and black interior upholstery. Basically, this is a blackout kit from factory, and that's all the RS trim is. It looks pretty good, honestly, but if it's worth the money remains to be seen in the real world. You also get 19-inch Android style wheels. Next up is the Premier trim for 2022, which does carry over, but it gets some new goodies like a gloss black grille with chrome inserts, LED head and tail lights, new 19-inch machined face wheels, logo protection liftgate, French style interior stitching, and a high gloss black finish on the center console. You're also going to have one engine to choose from now on, which is the 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder producing 170 horsepower with 203 pound-feet of torque. MPG should be about the same with the current model, with 26 city and 31 highway for the front-wheel drive version. The all-wheel drive version reduces those numbers by 1 each. Overall, these updates and upgrades are a light refresh with a better looking vehicle that will only make the Equinox a more aesthetically pleasing offering for the hundreds of thousands of people that will buy one. Now, with what's new and some specs out of the way, let's just talk quickly about overall reliability. Consumer Reports ranks the 2021 Equinox highly and even puts a recommended tag on the SUV, giving it a 74 out of 100 overall, which places it 9th out of 24 in the compact sport utility vehicle segment. I say 2021 because Consumer Reports does not have reliability ratings on the 2022 currently. Also, it's worth noting that Car and Driver places the Equinox 13th in this same category, though Car and Driver usually favors better handling cars in all classes, this one being no exception, with the Mazda CX-5 topping their list. Either way you slice it, the Equinox should be on your list, and it is both reliable and rated highly by independent sources. And with a model refresh out now, you can bet the new looks will attract some new buyers. With all that said, what if you can't afford a new Equinox, or just like the older ones better, or want a good deal on a used one? Well, then you'll need to do your research. And there we've got you covered too. So let's start by talking about some past issues with older versions, as this information is still relevant to newer buyers. First, let's talk about some common issues. CarComplaints.com is a great resource to check all of these top issues from any car really over years past or even new ones. And they have the top 3 trouble areas on the Equinox as excessive oil consumption, which doesn't sound too great because it's not, on the 2013 Equinox with an average cost to fix of $2,900 at an average mileage of 72,000 miles. Next is excessive oil consumption once again on the 2012 Equinox with an average cost to fix of $2,500 at an average mileage of 81,000 miles. And finally, excessive oil consumption, sensing a trend here, on the 2010 Equinox with an average cost to fix of $3,300 at an average mileage of 74,000 miles. Now, for all of these what to know videos I've done so far, I've never seen a hat trick of the same problem on car complaints for any car I've researched. So what I did is I dove a little deeper on this and found that there is a class action lawsuit over this excessive oil consumption problem affecting Chevy Equinoxes and GMC Terrain SUVs equipped with the 2.4 liter Ecotec engines. Who is covered in this lawsuit? Well, it states that all persons within the United States who purchased or leased at any time before May 16, 2019, a new, retail, or used model year 2010, 2011, 2012, or 2013 Chevrolet Equinox or GMC Terrain vehicle equipped with the 2.4 liter Ecotec engine. Of course, this is an issue with older Equinoxes with a totally different engine than the newer models. And if you look at other issues in older model years, you'll find some other things that aren't great, but these are all on older models, as I said. Just be aware that the 2010 through 2013 models are widely regarded as the model years with the most issues and the ones to completely avoid. So it's best to keep away from these if possible. Next, let's talk about the technical service bulletins, or TSBs, for the Equinox. If you didn't know, a TSB is a communication from the manufacturer, like Chevrolet, that document recommended procedures for repairing vehicles, and they happen when there are several occurrences of an unanticipated problem. For example, if consumers keep reporting that their doors won't lock because a wire in the door is known to disconnect from its harness, and it's happening across many different shops or dealers, the manufacturer will look into it, and if there's a fix, issue a TSB. So, if it happens again, the fix is easily understood and rectified. The manufacturer may also find fixes proactively and issue a TSB if the fix does not require a recall. For the Equinox, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of TSBs listed for many different model years. However, it's important to remember that this isn't necessarily a standard for reliability, so take this into consideration when doing your research. I won't go into all the TSBs they list because that would be a completely different video and a video in and of itself. But if you're more DIY inclined, it's worth poking around in the TSBs should you find something wrong with your vehicle and you want to fix it yourself. You can find TSBs listed on sites like Car Complaints, among others, as TSBs need to be public knowledge by law. But I will mention that if you do find something wrong with your vehicle and you own a newer model, ask the dealer first, as you'll likely have a warranty that should cover you for almost anything. On that note, let's talk about any active recalls that the Equinox has outstanding. You can find these as well as other complaints, manufacturer communications, and investigation information at the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA for short. The Equinox has a bunch of different recalls associated with many different model years, but here are a few to watch out for and the years that relate to them. For the 2007 Equinox, roof rail airbags, FMVSS 201. Certain passenger vehicles not equipped with optional roof rail airbags or optional sunroof fail to comply with the requirements of Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard number 201, occupant protection in interior impact. During NHTSA impact tests, the interior occupant protection test points exceeded the standard requirements. The results of this test indicated a possibility of an increased risk of head injury in a crash. Basically, this is saying that there wasn't enough head protection in these vehicles, so Chevy was made to add protective foam on the A-pillar in cars that didn't have these roof rail airbags. Since 2007, there have been large advances in occupant safety, so it's best to avoid the older model years if possible. Next, for the 2012 Equinox, key may be removed when not in park, which sounds just as bad as you think it does. If the key is removed without the transmission in park, the vehicle may roll away as occupants are exiting, increasing the risk of injury. This is a pretty famous recall just for the fact of how much publicity it got. Most cars have lockout systems that only allow you to remove the key if you're in park, and some General Motors vehicles had a flaw where you could actually do this and some cars just up and rolled away. Again, this is an older recall and all of these likely have been done, but it is one to watch out for if you're buying an older model. And finally, for the 2018 Equinox, fuel pump flange weld may fracture. A damaged fuel line can create a fuel leak, increasing the risk of a fire. The high-pressure fuel pump may detach from its mounting flange, possibly resulting in the pump damaging the high-pressure fuel line. Of course, this one, as all recalls, would be done by your dealer free of charge. Currently, the 2020 and 2021 models have 3 and 1 recalls on them respectively, but we can chalk that up to these years of the Equinox being newer than all of the others. More recalls may trickle in over time. It's worth noting that the most recalls on a single model year is only 5 for the Equinox, and that's the 2018 version. And in my research so far, that's the least amount of recalls I've ever seen on a vehicle across multiple, which is pretty impressive. Now, with all of this being said, do we recommend you still go in to buy the Equinox if you made the decision to purchase one? And the answer to that is a yes if you're in the market for a small SUV. The Equinox, by and large, it seems like a good SUV with a lot to offer based on the research that I've done, and that it will do most jobs that you want it to. And it seems that it will not only do everything you want, but it will do it pretty reliably as long as you avoid certain model years. It's hugely popular for a reason, and with the new 2022, you get big bang for your buck. A new one will give you the peace of mind of a warranty, but a certified pre-owned Equinox will also be a great buy. If you can swing it, just stick to the newer models and you should be fine. And well, if you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, please consider watching some of our other videos that we do. We make tons of videos about new car reviews, other what to know videos, consumer advice recommendations, and automotive news. If you'd like to see any of those, check the description below for playlists of everything we do. And finally, I hope that this video did help you in making your buying decision a bit easier or has made you a better informed owner. If you want to follow us outside of YouTube, you can find us at Shifting Lanes on Facebook and Instagram, where we post about the cars we review, our personal cars, and industry news and adventures. Again, my name is Gregson. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, until next time.